I read every personal finance book, studied the stock market for years, and built a high-paying career as a lawyer. Every source told me the same thing. Save aggressively, invest the rest, and your future is set. Then I spent 7 years advising ultra-wealthy entrepreneurs, and it made me question everything I thought I knew about money. So in this video, I'll show you the hidden costs of frugal living and what optimizing every dollar is costing you. The first cost is that frugality blocks you from discovering the life you want. Because most of us only allow ourselves one chance to figure this out, and that is when we are teenagers. That is when we choose our major, our university, the path we're committing to for the rest of our life. But it only covers what we want to be good at, not what we want our days to look like. And as a teenager, your worldview is incredibly narrow. You see what the people around you do. You feel the pressure of what you should be doing. And if you had a frugal upbringing, that voice is already running in the back of your mind. It tells you to choose what feels safe, what's affordable, what won't jeopardize you or your parents' finances. Maybe social media shows you other options, but it's still a very limited and filtered view of the possibilities. So you settle for what feels realistic based on what you know at the time. And 10 years later, a lot of us don't like what we chose, but very few of us feel like we can afford to change that. And that is exactly how frugality blocks discovery. And once you see that, you find yourself trapped in other obligations, whether that's buying a home, having kids, or feel like you need to save for a rainy day. It never feels like a good time to allow yourself to change things. And at the same time, that is the only way to improve your life. You need to allow yourself to try things, travel, meet people, invest in experiences that show you what you didn't know existed. The earlier you can do this, the better. Problem is that exploration costs money, and if you're frugal, you tell yourself these things can wait, that you have more important things to save for, and you avoid every unnecessary risk. So what happens is that the years fly by and you stay safe the whole time, wondering what if once it's too late. And even if you tell yourself that you're not being frugal and you're just being responsible and selective with your expenses, question yourself again. Consider how starting that business or taking a few months of unpaid leave could change your life before you say no to it. I wish that I understood this earlier, because I would have taken my own desires far more seriously and not given as much power to parents, past colleagues, or friends to shape the way forward for me. But I am also very glad that I wasn't frugal enough to say no to myself when it came to certain expenses. One thing that I did early on was travel as much as I could and make good use of my PTO. It exposed me to many different ways of living, and I realized that I not only wanted but needed a life where I owned my schedule, which means that I had to figure out how to make money on my own terms without being tied to a specific location. And I have invested years and a lot of money in taking myself closer to that goal on top of my full-time job. So, while frugality may look like you keeping your options open, allowing yourself to invest in learning how you can make money is what actually ensures that your options stay open. And it allows you to do much bigger things with your life too. So if you want to learn more about working for yourself and how you can take the first step towards that, I share more about what I have learned over the years in my weekly newsletter. You'll find the link in the description below. The second cost is that frugality makes you wait. And waiting is costly. And the even scarier thing is that it doesn't feel like waiting. You can be busier than ever, but you're distracted with things that aren't changing your life. You feel like you're doing good, like you're being responsible. And if you ask the people around you, they probably agree too. So you keep managing your expenses, you're careful with your money, and you prioritize looking responsible and optimizing for stability. But the one thing that could actually change your life, such as building an income source outside of your job, or investing in the people, time, or skills that would actually change your trajectory, gets pushed to later. And while you do this, you tell yourself it's because you need more clarity, more time, and it doesn't feel as urgent as all of the other things that are on your schedule. But the thing is that this will only feel urgent when you no longer have the chance, and it has already turned into a regret. It is when you get fired out of nowhere, your kid gets sick and needs you long term, or you're even more unhappy with where you are, but still don't feel safe enough to change it. What I realized once I started saying no to people and slowed down is that it is very hard to get clarity by waiting for that to happen when you're in the middle of a super busy lifestyle. You need to clear the calendar, sit with all the uncomfortable questions, and be honest with yourself about where you are, if you like it, and what you're moving towards. And if you're gonna get serious about changing your life. And then you need to do what it takes to actually get there. And you find out as you go if the goal requires more time, money, or both. What is tough for a frugal person is to allow themselves to spend money to move faster. And this is one of the biggest lessons I have learned in business, because your business is an extension of you. And frugality doesn't always make sense in business. It's so easy to convince yourself that you don't need anyone and that you can do it all on your own. And that the business needs to make more money before you can spend more money on it. But what if it's the other way around? What if you need to spend more money on the business first so that it gets better and can start making money for you in return? And once you have decided to commit to your goal, you need to give it the time, money, and effort that it requires. And the bigger the goal, the more it will take. Think about how much time and money you spent learning how to do your current job with school and university before you ever got paid for it. You invested years into something without a guarantee, and the only reason that doesn't feel scary is because it's what most people do and it's normalized at this point. You need to take your own goals or business or other ventures just as seriously and allow for growth to take time. And you cannot wait for a certain revenue amount before you allow yourself to invest in it. Even if this channel is new, I didn't wait to outsource my editing. I have made similar mistakes before, and I've learned that to grow the business that I want to have, I need to outsource certain parts of it right away. And it's not because I don't know how to edit. I did that for years in my first business, but it's not how I want to spend my time, and I'm not going to build a business that relies on me for its editing. The longer you avoid spending money to get ahead, the costlier it gets, because you are losing valuable years of compounding effects in the process. The later you get going and the slower you move, the slower your business or your life or other goals will move, which increases the likelihood of you having to give up on that goal. And while you're waiting, there are other people who are willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead, because they knew that the perfect conditions don't exist, and they are more willing to spend money to make money. And if you can relate to this pattern and want to get out of it once and for all, and actually get started, you'll find more tips for how to get going in my weekly newsletter. You'll find the link in the description below. The third cost is that frugality locks you out of your options, because by staying where you are and only socializing in circles where frugality makes sense, you never get the perspectives that make you question how you make money or how you spend your time. And this is also why the FIRE movement gets it all completely backwards. FIRE stands for Financial Independence Retire Early, and the idea is that if you save and invest your salary aggressively enough, you can retire decades earlier than what's normal. But what it actually does is limit you. FIRE makes you obsessed with optimizing the system you're in with the goal of getting out in 20 to 30 years. But there is a cost to this that rarely gets the attention that it deserves. By staying in this system instead of questioning the structure itself, meaning how you're making money, you're losing valuable time in the process. In fact, you're losing your healthiest years to a career that you're desperate to escape. And if you hit your FIRE goal, you still need to stay within your chosen limits. It doesn't take much for FIRE to backfire. Think about something like when your kids want to buy their first home. We are in a cost of living crisis and homes aren't getting cheaper. Buying a home in 2026 is already hard. And and it probably won't get easier. Do you want to be the parent who can help with these things and create possibilities for future generations? Or do you want to cap your possibilities from the very beginning? I saw the difference between being frugal and strategic clearly in my old job working for ultra-wealthy entrepreneurs. They weren't frugal in the sense that we are used to, and no one cared about fire. But they valued money, and they didn't want to waste it. They were willing to spend a lot of money in certain areas, such as themselves and their businesses, because they saw an even bigger upside. And that upside was options. They knew that growing and protecting their business gave them freedom to choose things like where they live, how they make money, how they spend their time. They were willing to pay hundreds of thousands for advice on how to do this and keep doing it over time. Because knowing your options is worth far more than just sitting in the current system that you're in. And at the same time, a frugal person is trading their options without even realizing it. They stay inside their lane of making money and manage their salary carefully while patiently waiting for the next promotion. And whenever they get the chance to bet on themselves, they talk themselves out of it. They think that they need better circumstances and that the cost is too high. They don't understand the value of what's on the table. And they don't want to risk the stability that they have worked so hard to achieve. But it's not just about us. It is also about what we want to be possible for those who come after us. Think about two kids. One kid grows up watching their parents invest in themselves, take risks, and make active choices about their life, such as how they live and where they live, and what they spend their time and money on. The other kid grows up watching their parents check receipts obsessively, talk about how things like travel is a luxury that other people do, and pick the cheaper option every single time. Both kids inherit the same lessons that their parents have learned when they were younger. The rich kid is taught to ask the bigger questions and create a bigger life. The frugal kid is taught to defend whatever they already have. So before you say no to yourself, think about whose script you are following and what you want to pass on. Because frugality doesn't just make you say no in the moment. It makes you say no to a bigger version of yourself and the people you leave behind, even if you think it's creating freedom. And if you want to change this, the next step is to stop thinking about things like the stock market and start investing your money where it really matters. And to learn more about that, watch this video next.